Okay, you too. Thank you. Shalom.
All right, thank you everyone for attending to this, tonight's meeting. I'll call to order at 6:40 p.m. But before I start our meeting, I would like to thank everyone who filed as a candidate for the upcoming neighborhood council elections. And I would like to remind everyone that the Harbor Gateway North Neighborhood Council is one of 99 certified neighborhood councils in the city of Los Angeles. We are an elected board of 17, all in volunteers from the community, with the purpose of advocating our stakeholders on important issues and educating stakeholders on how to have input on city issues that impact them, such as the city budget, illegal dumping, homelessness, and planning and land use issues. And also I would like to introduce, I believe her name is, what's her name? Julia Lopez, who is our interpreter for tonight. Hello, Julia. Yeah, you're going to be in the, yeah, you're in the English channel, but if anyone who needs interpretation, you can explain to them how they can navigate that. Mhm. All right, thank you very much. All right, so everyone, thank you very much for attending to this meeting.
So I will take a roll
Roll call.
call.
Yes, correct.
Miguel Vasquez,
Present.
Joan Jacobs,
Present.
Rosalie Preston, present. Keith Pitts,
Present.
Julia Escada Arteaga,
Present.
Arvie Powell,
Present.
Jodette Span,
Present.
Richard Lee,
Present.
Elijah Thomas,
Present.
Craig Kusunoki,
Here.
and I don't think Piers, Fairclough, or Angela Springs are here. And Jackie Jackson is finishing up work and then she'll be present. So we have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much, Rosalie. All right, moving on to agenda item number 2, general public commentary on non-agenda items that are within the neighborhood council's jurisdiction. If you're on your phone, please press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute yourself. Please keep in mind that each speaker has 2 minutes to speak. All right. First off, I believe we have Nita. Hello, Nita.
Hello, Miguel. My hand was just up earlier because you asked me to unmute and I didn't know why.
Oh yeah, sorry.
If you had something that you wanted to ask me or,
Oh,
but I forgot to lower it.
oh no, it's all right, no problem. So you don't have a question then?
I'd like to know if there's any updates on the warehouse project for Redondo and Vermont, but that's just
As
hoping
far
that's
as I
been
know,
killed.
well, as far as I know, I really don't know any updates for that project as of yet.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no problem. All right, we have a question. Aaron?
Hi, I had a question about like all of the trash that's by the train tracks on like 116th Place when you're driving up on the 105. Does that fall in this jurisdiction?
Where specifically in the 105?
It's on 116th Place between Hoover and Vermont.
So that's District 6.
That's not-
And yeah, it's a perennial issue.
Okay,
Do
What
you
does
know,
that
do you
mean?
know how to report?
no. What does perennial mean?
Well, it's there, it gets cleaned up and then people dump again. Are you getting our emails?
No.
So if you could go to our website and sign up, or
But does no one come to regularly clean it?
not on a regular basis.
Do we know where that is?
Well, it's the railroad track. So if we could explain by email.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right, Jody Moreno,
Yes, can you guys hear me okay?
we can hear you fine.
Okay, great. Now this is the portion I just, joined on here. This is where I could bring up my concern in the community, right?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, so my name's Jody Moreno. I'm the storage operations manager for a company called Nova Storage. We have, self-storage units for rent for the community. We're indoors, we have 2 stories, and, we have climate control. We're right on Figueroa Street and 132nd. On 132nd is a cul-de-sac, and we have 4 RVs with homeless people living in there. It's been pretty consistent, and we've recently, well, maybe throughout COVID and recent, we've had to spend almost $5,000 on landscaping. I have monthly security coming out. I've had to pay vendors to come and repair some of the wrought iron fencing that was broken because people, suspects were breaking into the businesses next door. I have scared employees, scared customers. It's lowered our occupancy a bit, so it's a major safety issue. So, I appreciate David and Fabiola coming out to help address this. But, I wanted to work on perhaps painting that curb red, so that way these RVs can be moved and not scare our customers and tenants and our employees and create all this, extra cost for our company.
So yeah, that I could help you with that situation. I mean, I could work with LADOT, where I believe they're the ones that are responsible for the painting the curbs. So I can actually file a request and follow up with you. I'm not really sure if you're signed up to our newsletter or to our contact list through our website. But if you are, then I could follow you up in future emails with LADOT and have that request fulfilled as soon as possible.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank
All right,
you.
so Jody Moreno, so you're from Nova Storage, correct?
Yeah, Nova Storage, right on Figueroa and 132nd.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Jody. Yeah, if you have any concerns, you can email us and then we can follow up and actually help. That would be
Sounds
nice.
great. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Have a nice day.
What's your email address?
Oh, it's J Cannon. That's JCANNON at.
Yeah, Mr. Spencer is not one of our board members, so I don't know if you,
Oh, I see.
Oh, is this for a board member only? Because this was stuck on my door to,
No.
Oh, I
Just
see.
ignore the comment, but it just the thing is that you can also put that your email address as well on the chat so we can look into it.
I'll do that. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Thank
so
you.
it's much more easier that way. So you don't have to like,
Yeah, spell it out.
yeah, it's all right.
so because I'm not a board member, my voice cannot be heard.
No, not
public comment is only comments by
Rosalie,
people.
I
We're not
understand.
supposed to be.
Yeah, I know, but we're not supposed. Yeah, but regardless, Jody is going to write her email there on the chat. All right, so thank you.
Wait a minute, you're ignoring me.
I'm not ignoring you. You just have your hand raised. There's a queue.
Okay, all
Sorry.
right.
All right, so we have Nita.
I just wanted to mention that people's private emails are private emails, and members of the public don't necessarily need to be having them shared publicly.
All right, well taken.
Mr. Spencer.
All right, so Al Spencer, do you have a question or a
Yes,
concern?
first of all, do I have a voice in this meeting? I thought
Yes, you do.
I thought this was a neighborhood meeting for the Harbor Gateway North area.
Yes, you do. That's
Okay.
why I'm just saying that since you didn't have your hand raised, there has to be a code of conduct in this meeting. So you know this.
I get it. Let's
Yeah.
move forward.
Okay.
Okay. So my concerns about this neighborhood is, number one, on Central Avenue, on the west side of Central, between the 105 and 118th Drive, is it just constant trash buildup there and in the middle of the street.
And this is on Central, right?
Yes. Do you cover that area?
Yes. I actually live by there, so I already know.
Okay, well, and also the people that are selling flowers there.
Yeah, I know by the both sides, right? The
May I
the
finish?
west side.
May I
Yeah.
finish? They cause people exiting the freeway to stop. And one of these is going to be a bad accident there.
So you're talking about the one, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's the west, it's in the west side when you exit off heading down south on Central Avenue. I have that same incident. Actually, I reported that to LAPD about that, and they just gave them warnings. But yeah, it's an ongoing issue with them too as well. And I've been actually trying to have them either relocated to a different area down in Central Avenue. But yeah, I'll keep that in mind as well.
One thing that they could do
Yeah.
is narrow the lined barrier in the middle of the street. There's a big area in there.
Yeah.
That is just isn't used, and people could swing wide coming off the freeway there.
Mhm.
This is just a poor use of space. And then another issue is that south of 118th, between 118th and 119th, motorhomes have started parking there for the last few months. And with the motorhomes, there is debris buildup. Can something be done about that?
Okay, so it was 118 and then 119th.
But on Central, between 118th and 119th on the west side of the street.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I'll get that noted. Yeah.
So back to the debris that's on Central, though, doesn't the street sweeper come through there?
My thing is that I could look into the map of LADOT and other stuff like that, because they have a detailed mapping of where they do street sweeping. But from what I understand, since it's a main street, I don't think they do that. But we can try to request something.
LA City doesn't sweep major streets.
Okay, I know a friend and I have gone around there and cleaned it before, but if we're going to continue to do that, we should be put on salary or something. Of course, I'm making a joke, but I've got some other issues here. It says here on this paper to bring my issues to you guys.
Okay.
Okay, the concerning street sweepers, I live on 118th Drive. Sometimes they don't come, and a lot of times they come and they don't do a good job. And I've reported it before, but it's an ongoing issue. Is there a way that we can get speed bumps on this street?
Yeah, the thing about that is that they had actually opened up an application for requesting the construction of speed bumps, but those immediately closed down in a few minutes. But currently they closed that. those applications, and I'm not really sure when they're going to reopen, but if they do reopen, then I'll gladly notify you.
That would be great.
Yeah,
So
it's unfortunate because I also wanted to do that on my street, on 118th Street. But the thing is that unfortunately, a lot of people actually started filing for speed bumps, that the application closed in a few minutes. So yeah, it was quite unfortunate.
So for this area, for this neighborhood, are you the lead contact, Mr. Vasquez?
Yeah, I'm the chairperson. So anything, yeah, you know, we could, like, since it seems like you live close to where I live, if whatever works for you, we can meet in person, or you can contact me through email. And I could just, I could type that up in chat. So so just for,
Also, our new field deputy for Council District 15 has
Yes.
just put his email in our chat.
that too. I think that's also more resourceful too as well. So you
My-
said, to recap,
My chat is disabled.
it should be enabled, but can you see the chat?
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah,
My chat's disabled as well.
that's weird. Well, I don't know. I'll work on that.
So is mine.
Yeah, I don't know.
How can we
apologize.
contact-
mine.
How can we contact you, Mr. Vasquez?
All right, yeah, you can contact me through my email. It's chair, so CHAIRM as in Maple, V as in Victor, at gmail.com.
Okay.
So
Got
yeah, so to resume what you said, the issues of the flower vendors right there by the 105 freeway exit on Central Avenue. And you want to request street diets on Central Avenue, RVs, and the issue of dumping, and in the future, speed bumps on 118th Drive, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just to I'm just noting them down so I won't forget, and to see if I got everything from what you requested.
Thank you, sir.
All right, no problem, Al Spencer. All right, moving on. Aaron.
Hello. Okay, so just I guess it's just like a general concern, and just
Mhm.
is there anything that can be, just when I'm walking around, the trailers do concern me sometimes, just like as a woman walking around, I
Yeah.
feel like somebody could just come and take me, put me in their trailer, nobody would know. Is there anything that can be done about the trailers, or is that just a fight that can't be fought?
I mean, but where necessarily? Where's the location?
Within the whole neighborhood, like where he said, I live on 120th and off on 120th Street.
Okay, yeah, that's all I just needed to know. Yeah,
On
because I just want-
Figueroa.
because if I do file a report, I need a just an exact location.
Yeah, 120th, and then on Hoover Street, between there and El Segundo, there's a lot of just different areas that have like the trailers that are just kind of just always there. And so is there a reason why they're able to just be there all the time?
Well,
Or
I mean, from my understanding, it was because due to COVID restrictions where they couldn't evict RVs due to the fact that they are considered as homes, and because of the eviction laws that were in place or the moratorium, they couldn't really do that. That's from my understanding. And they did have a rule where they could actually impound these RVs, but the problem is that due to the lack of ability for the space and for the impounding lots, they couldn't really do that. But we could certainly work and try to have homeless services and work with LAPD as well, or the senior lead officers in this case, so they can actually look into the situation further. Because I know that it is starting to build up around, and like what Al Spencer said, in Central Avenue and other places as well. But yeah, I'll try to work on those requests. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. All right, so we have Marta Cerda.
Yes, hi. I wanted to know if you can tell me where I can maybe make a complaint about the person in charge of the Metro Garden Club that's on 149th and like Estrella and Denver Avenue. The members there are not too happy with the person in charge. They feel like they're just he's making a profit off of the plots. So they want to know where they can go to make a complaint about the person there in charge.
Martha, do we have your email? Because we can let you know the contact.
Yes, I put my email.
I mean, we have it already. You got an email from us.
No. Oh, no. No, do I have to sign up to get emails or?
Yes,
Oh, okay. No, I don't think I'm signed up.
because
No.
we can communicate with you that way.
Okay, so how do I, okay, where do I go?
So go
do
to
that?
our website and there's a window that pops up and you sign up.
I sign up, okay. But do you know who I would contact for that or?
Well, when we get your email, there's a garden group that oversees that garden, so
Okay,
we can give you the contact number.
okay. And what is the website? Do you know what the website is?
Our website is www.harborgatewaynorth.org.
.org. And then I'll sign up there?
Yes.
There, okay. Okay, then that's what I'll do. I'll do that so that we can make that complaint there and stuff. Okay, well, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Marta. All right, so let's see. We have a lot of hands up. All right, so Janet Mitchell. Let's see.
Disregard.
Okay. Let's see. Anyone else?
I have my hand up, Miguel.
All right. Yes, John.
Yes, I just wanted to add to what had been said earlier regarding the constant problems with trash and illegal dumping and so on, that yes, we ourselves, I mean, the person who lives closest and has made the complaint can certainly keep on reporting it, but because we all know the squeaky wheel tends to get the most attention. And I think we've all learned that even on the council through the years. But also suggest to your neighbors and anybody else you can think of that they might report it as well, because the more people who report, the more the complaints they get about these things, these problems, then the more likely they are to be dealt with in a much more timely manner. Thank you. That was my advice. And I think even, people who don't live in the district, if they see it, please report it wherever it is. People who don't represent the district on our council, who represent other districts or other positions, can also report it. Okay, and I will do my best to report it as well. Thank you so much. It's MyLA 311, and one can get an app for one's iPhone or whatever phone one has, I think. And Rosalie has more information. I think Miguel has, probably everybody has more information about that than I.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for that input, Joan. All right, so we'll take a little bit more questions and then we have to move on due to time. All right, so Jesse, Scott.
Yes. Good
Yes.
evening. I wanted to say, I think with the street cleaners, the street sweepers, the machine that they're using is not a good machine. And so, yes, they do come and sweep, but they're not doing a good job. So I think that's maybe we need to just complain about the machinery and they can get it, get better equipment over here. I think that's one of the problems with the street cleaning.
Duly noted.
Okay, and then I noticed on Main Street, between 117th and 116th, there's continuing to dump. So do we just keep calling, reporting that?
I actually drove past by there on my way to home, and I actually made a request. So yeah, like what Joan Jacobs suggested, everyone has to do their own part and report. You can report through the 311 app, or you can call in. But yeah, just please do that as much as you can, so people who are in charge can see the sense of urgency, and they can actually have illegal dumping or anything of that to be completed as soon as possible.
Okay, and the other thing I was going to mention is the campers.
Mhm.
I think they're moving campers around, and so we have to be watchful that they don't move them into our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So just be watchful of that.
Yeah, that I do notice as well, because whenever there is some sort of cleanup, they always have to they relocate somewhere else. And
Right.
it's a cycle, and it never ends, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no problem. All right, lastly, we'll just have Oscar Ruiz.
Hello, Miguel.
Hello, Oscar. How's it going?
It's going good. I was just wondering, do you guys have any updates on that encampment next to the 105, located behind the church?
The Bellevue Church?
Yes.
That I requested a bunch of stuff right there, and the 301 is just referring it to the homeless services. In this case, hopefully I'll, with a new field deputy that for the offices of Tim McCosker, hopefully we can have him in contact and, follow up with, with homeless services in that area. But as far as I know, I don't have any updates, but, I'm just continuously trying to report the situation. Yeah, because I know it's been, I believe it was in the month of May of last year, it was okay, and then it started resurging back not too long ago. But yeah, it's been a situation that it's kind of hard to deal with because of many people trying, breaking in from loose defenses.
Yeah, and then do you know who has been notified? Because I know I occasionally I use the 311 app as well.
Yeah.
And I believe, yeah, like you said, this has been happening for a while. I know when I've submitted the request, I've got an email saying that a person has reached out to the homeless there. I know it did clear up for a bit, but as of right now they actually have like a whole little spot up there.
Yeah, further in, actually. It's not directly now behind the church, but it's actually from the other church, the Fuente de Agua Vida.
Yeah.
It's further up there now. But yeah, we like I said, and like what Joan suggested, just keep on reporting. And I'll try to contact as well, like human services, so they can actually, take care and give them the needed services that they need.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. All right, let's see. Let's move on to due to time constraints, I'm sorry. We'll just move on to agenda item number 3, which are reports. Do we have anyone from Council District 8? Rosalie, do you know who's in charge of giving us?
I don't believe anyone is here.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so then we will have reports from Council District 15. I'm not sure if it's going to be Tim McCosker or his new field deputy. I believe his name is Nicolas Chavez.
Thank you, Miguel. This is Tim McCosker. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How's it going?
It's going great. It's good to be back again. I was here last time, but I was delighted when you invited me to come to the general membership meeting.
Oh yeah, no problem.
It's good to be here, and I wanted to say hello and introduce Nicholas and talk a little bit more about where we're heading with the office. So could I have a few minutes to make a presentation?
Oh, sure. Do you want to, is it a PowerPoint?
No, just to speak. I was just
Oh, okay, cool.
mindful of your time. No, I'll just.
No problem. You have time.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. So for the folks that I know on this call, folks that have been in the board meetings in the past that I've come to, it's good to see your names on the screen at least. And to everyone else, my name is Tim McCosker. I am the recently elected city council person for Council District 15, or as we say, the 1-5, one district and 5 beautiful communities. We cover our neighbor Watts, the Harbor Gateway, Harbor City, Wilmington, and San Pedro. And I was sworn in just last month. We had the holiday break, but when we came back from the break, we began attending to the business that I'm sure you're following, that Mayor Bass has been attending to, and that is to declare the state of emergency on the issue of homelessness. And it relates to a lot of the things that we've just talked about. What Mayor Bass has done is declared the state of emergency, and she's trying to set aside some of the rules that make it difficult to bring folks in, and she's really focusing on encampments. I have met with her and her team and said that particularly in the Gateway and throughout our district, we really need to focus on the encampments and as well as the motorhomes. And that is a real issue in our district. And I'm very cognizant of the fact that they create an unsafety. They can be unsafe in and of themselves on a public safety issue, as one of our constituents just said a few minutes ago. They can also be unsanitary because of the living conditions and dumping in the street. And so we will be working with the mayor's office and working with DOT and sanitation and LAPD, the whole team as necessary to make sure that we attend to the motorhome issue. So just know that's very, very important to me. We also have, we recently on the legislation side, we recently made a decision that the moratorium on evictions would come to an end, but as a city council, we also took the action to put some significant renter protections in place before the moratorium ends at the end of this month. On the organizational side for my office, I wanted to let you know that as we talked about this office during the campaign, I made a commitment that we were going to be very focused on constituent care, very focused on the kinds of issues you've just been talking about. And so in my office, as I hire up my staff, and we've been busily doing that over the last few weeks, really focused on making sure that we have deputies in each of our communities. And I am pleased to say that we have a district director, not Nicholas Chavez, but we have a district director. She is going to be basically over all of the constituent care positions in our office, and her name is Erica Velasquez. Some of you may know her because she's been around the district for a while. She worked for Janice Hahn when Janice Hahn was council member, and most recently she was in the county working on constituent care. So Erica Velasquez, who may jump on this call in a little bit, she was on another neighborhood council meeting. She will be our district director, and she will be working with all of our district deputies. And in Harbor Gateway, our district deputy is going to be Nicholas Chavez, and Nicholas is on the call right now. And he did put in the chat, for those of you who can see it, his email address, which is nicholas.i.chavez@lacity.org. And we will make sure, Miguel, that we get that email over to you for both Nicholas and for Erica, so that you can put them in your newsletters and your information to your constituents, so that they know that these are the folks they can reach out to on the day-to-day issues. It's reaching out to Nick Chavez to ask for us to address issues like encampments, like illegal dumping, like trash, like street sweeping, the issues that we've been discussing here. And I also would encourage everyone to use the My 311 app. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. You can report it on the app and let us know. We will also be making sure that we're reviewing the results on the My 311 on the back end. So that'll be very, very important to me, that we have a relationship with this neighborhood council and that we work closely with you on the issues that that you all have just been discussing. I want to also just talk a little bit about some of the assignments that I have on the city council. City council members get assigned to committees, and they can be very important for services in the district. And I will tell you that I am now the chair of something called the Personnel and Hiring Committee. And it's the committee that's responsible for basically building up the resources of the city and making sure that we have employees and that our employees are responsive to the needs of our constituents. In that regard, I'm going to make sure that we have job fairs and opportunities for our constituents to get those jobs. But I'm also going to be making sure that when I hear complaints like poor equipment or poor service on street sweeping, as I just heard a few minutes ago, I'll be able to follow up on those issues. I also serve on the committees as vice chair that deal with the port, the airport, and the Department of Water and Power. And those are going to be important committees and positions for us in the 15th, because while those are great economic engines, they also can create environmental damage, and we need to make sure that we are holding the city to account on environmental sustainability. My final two committees are budget and finance, which is really important. My committee will be setting the budget of the city year in, year out, and it's really important to work closely with neighborhood councils to make sure that you have input and advice on what we should be budgeting. I also will serve on public safety, and public safety is an important piece of the budget. It's also important service throughout our communities. So in our district, in our community, I want to make sure that we are focused on basic city services, sidewalks, streets, curbs, gutters, trash pickup, street sweeping, tree trimming, all the things that I've really heard in this meeting. I want to make sure that we are focused on our motorhome issue, particularly in this district. And I want to make sure that I'm staying in close contact with all of the neighborhood councils throughout the district. So month by month, you will have the attention of Nick Chavez. And on a regular basis, he'll report back to me as to what the issues are. We will work together as a team to do the best possible that we can to resolve those issues. And then from time to time, I would love to be able to come back and speak to you, not to replace Nicholas, but he'll invite me back when there's important meetings and things to get input from you. So with that, I would be happy to have Nicholas say a couple of words, and I'd also be happy to take a few questions.
Thank you, Tim. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicholas Chavez. I will be the field deputy for Harbor Gateway. I'm very excited to start. I've already been taking notes on some of the concerns that you guys have had. And for me, it is kind of a little more personal because I also live here in Harbor Gateway North. So all of your concerns are close to home, and I'm going to work as hard as I can to make sure this area is maintained, is to its potential. So like I said, I'm very excited. My email, by the way, just so I could let everyone know, is going to be nicholas.i.chavez@lacity.org. And I'll make sure Miguel and Rosalie have that available for you guys as well. So like I said, I'm very excited to start. I will be willing to meet with you guys and deal with any sort of issues you guys have. And I will be here at these meetings every time as well. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate that. I would be happy, Miguel, if you want to direct it to field questions, if there are any.
Sure. All right. So in our live chat, we do have a question from Erica L. Stafford. Councilperson McOsker, how can constituents find out about job openings in your office? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The best way will be to send an email directly to councilmember.mccosker, MCOSKER, @lacity.org and make that inquiry. And if you want to, if folks are interested, I mean, we are filling the positions and I think we're nearly full. But if folks want to just jump right to sending me a resume and a cover letter, that would be fine.
Okay, sounds good. All right, let's see if we have any live questions right here. I believe we have Janet Mitchell. Hello, Janet. Do you have a question for either Tim McOsker or, Council Member Tim McOsker or Nicholas Chavez?
No, I don't. I just want to say welcome aboard, and I look forward to working with these gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm delighted. I look forward to working with you.
All right. Okay, phone number starting in area code 323, ending in 525. Welcome. I believe this person is not able to talk. All right, we'll move on. Okay, Nikisha. Good evening.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good evening, everyone. So I have a question. I have actually two questions. I wanted to know what are this is for anyone that can answer it that just spoke. Pertaining to anything on the neighborhood council, if you have a grievance that has been submitted, how do you go about actually getting a grievance even recognized and acknowledged pertaining to the neighborhood council?
Is that a question for Councilman Tim McOsker? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Well, I would think that if you have a grievance regarding the neighborhood council, it would probably be best to take it up with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment.
Okay, I've spoke with them, and I do have emails that will actually basically say what it is that the grievance was with, and the different things that they did say that was actually a violation of the bylaws, and it has yet to even been discussed or even been spoke on the neighborhood council. It's just more as if it's just being pushed under the rug and no one is addressing it. And as of today, my grievance is maybe a little bit over a year, and it has not been addressed on no level. And the neighborhood empowerment has responded to me and let me know that those were actual violations and nothing has been done. It's just as if they acknowledged it and that's it.
Well, you, as a constituent of CD15, you feel free to submit that information to our office. I would do the same, though. I would just follow up with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment and see if there's going to be any further action. But without knowing what it is, I don't want to overcommit to how it might come out. But thank you.
Okay, now my second question is pertaining to the votes. I'm not sure if everyone is aware that the actual election right before this one that's going on now, all of the votes were not counted. How do we ensure that all of the votes from the stakeholders actually be counted? And the reason that I'm asking that is because just one thing that was in my grievance is that the Secretary Rosalie Preston, she did send out a background check on me prior to the actual election last season. And that's in a grievance. And I have statements from the Neighborhood Empowerment letting me know that they did talk about it. So they do know that it did happen and nothing has been done about it, as well as how do we for sure make sure that all of the ballots are counted this time and no one is doing anything behind the scenes that's an actual violation to people actually using the neighborhood council as a weapon against people?
Well, the sanctity of the neighborhood council movement is really important to me, and I expect it's really important to the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. I'd be happy to follow up with Dunn to make sure we feel comfortable about the process and the count on the ballots on the election. It's important for all of us to have confidence in these elections. So thank you. Okay,
thank you.
To follow
and is
up,
there an email that I can follow up with you guys to send all the information to you guys? Because I have, a bunch of emails that's actually factual, that's stating the violations. And like I say, Neighborhood Empowerment actually letting me know that it was a violation. So I have all the evidence as far as in what I need to submit. It's just been tough even getting it acknowledged.
I appreciate that. You can send it to our office. In fact, Nicholas the Nicholas Chavez email address that he just gave would be the right one.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Nikisha. All right, Dr. Critical Truth Bay. Hello? Do you have a question for either Nicolas Chavez or Councilmember Tim Kosker? All right, if not, okay, we'll move on.
Yes, hello?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes.
you fine.
Okay, yes, I just want to say, welcome to Tim McCosker and Nicholas. There are some issues concerning housing and transparency in CD 15. And yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge our new governance, and hopefully that will have some opportunities and equity for service providers to actually help apply for grants or funding without discrimination. And the encampments for sure to have priority in housing, such as Project Room Key, Home Key, first time home buyers program. A lot of families, especially Black families, that are left out in the bottom when they have been homeless for quite some time. So racial discrimination, according to homelessness, is something that really still needs to be addressed. So I do hope that we have opportunities to rectify that together. So thank you so much for being elected, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I've had the opportunity to meet with our mayor, Mayor Bass, and her chief deputy on similar issues, particularly to make sure that our residents in our communities are getting the opportunity to rapidly get into all the housing that we've created. So I appreciate your concerns and look forward to working with you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Jesse Scott.
Welcome. I wanted to address, can you tell us a little bit about your strategies for dealing with the dumping that that we get every day?
Yes.
And yeah.
Yes, thank you. I've actually, particularly in the Gateway, where we see pockets of dumping that tend to be at underpasses or on Caltrans property. What I've done is I've spoken to some of my colleagues and one of the departments about using cameras more carefully or more liberally to either work with Caltrans or to work with our own Department of Water and Power to use the existing facilities to attach cameras in chronic dumping areas so that we can get license plates on dumpers and then increase the fines. And particularly where my expectation is that there are commercial enterprises where people are doing small demo jobs, and instead of lawfully and truthfully dumping at a commercial site, they're dumping in our community. And if we can get those cameras and get those license plate readers and increase the fines and make an example, particularly of the commercial abusers, I think it'll have a lot of effect in cutting back on some of the dumping. We'll have to stay one step ahead of it because folks will find new ways and new opportunities. But I think it'd be really, really important for us to be more vigilant and put more resources in this chronic problem of dumping. It's not it's not a problem that the city has done a good job of paying attention to, and it's bad for our communities, and it's very expensive to have to send out sanitation to clean up. What we should do is we should be more proactive. So thank you for your question.
And thank you, because that's something we've been working on since Janice Hahn, trying to get the cameras up. And, every time we've been told that it's too expensive, but, there are ways to do it. And so
And the
I
cost
appreciate
of the technology has really come down since the Janice Hahn days.
Yes.
As the technology gets better and the cost comes down The next challenge will be to make sure that we have the cooperation. As silly as this sounds, we have to get the cooperation of our own departments and have street services and DOT and our sister agency, Caltrans, allow us to attach to their property.
Yes, thank you, thank
Uh-huh.
you.
Well, yeah, and to follow up on that question, Tim, so Councilmember Tim McCusker, how long does that cooperation take? I mean, is there like a way, like we could actually form like a pilot program of such, just so they can see its effectiveness?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we would do is move most quickly with the agencies that we have greater, relationship with or more leverage with. And so since I sit on the committee that oversees Department of Water and Power, it probably makes sense for us to start there and use those power poles and then work our way up to having a relationship with Caltrans, which might be trickier.
Yeah.
Remember, with DWP property, we'll have access to power for starters. And so I think we begin there. Okay.
All right, sounds cool. All right, we have a question from chat. Erica L. Staffer, who says, how do I find out the Caltrans district that overlaps Council District 15?
Caltrans district. I think it's 9, but I'm not sure. And what we'll do is we'll take that under submission. And
It's District 7.
7. Thank you, Rosalie. Thank you. That's how you find out. We asked Rosalie because she's been through these battles.
Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Rosalie, for that answer as well. All right, John.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. Just want to welcome Tim McCosker and his crew to the, as he said, the 1-5.
Yep.
We like the vibe. We could tell that he's in touch, and we just look forward to him serving our communities. We don't have much, but our football programs, stuff like that. Hopefully we can get a little support, and we just look forward to working with Tim and his crew.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, we're all in this together in the 1-5.
Absolutely. We have people giving away stuff, a little bit here and there, food here, food drives, football, all that kind of stuff. We just look forward to maybe getting a little more resources and representing the 1-5.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I think we have Nita. Hello, Nita.
Hello, I just wanted to thank you for your commitment to the neighborhood councils and make a general request that people that aren't speaking would please mute themselves so we don't have the distraction of the barking dogs and the coughing going on in the middle of our councilman speaking. Because we really like you being here, Tim, and Nicholas also, and we don't want to disrespect you by talking over you or letting our dogs bark.
I appreciate that. I really enjoy being here, and I know that we've learned in the last few years with all these Zoom meetings to sort of embrace the chaos, but I appreciate that reminder. I might have been one of the people coughing, by the way. I'm just getting over a case of COVID. I wanted to make sure that I came here tonight, but I'm in day 3 of a diagnosis, so I've got a couple more days to go. If y'all could keep me in your thoughts and prayers, make sure I come roaring back healthy and well next week. Okay.
We'll
So-
do that. And it was you that was speaking. But
Oh, okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Nita.
All right. Lastly, I have Janet Mitchell. Unless, Janet, you raised your hand accidentally.
No, it was an accident. I was just wanting to follow up in regards to all of these things we talk about getting done within in the gateway. We're actively doing community cleanups, and I hear people complain, but when we come out into different districts, we are not getting the involvement of those constituents and residents that live within their areas to be active and take a part. Also, there's the complaints when we're cleaning there along Gardena Boulevard. There's the benches where a lot of the, I guess, their neighborhood alcoholics, they're drunks, and it's unsafe, So what is the situation of trying to get those benches? Because they're just like a ground for them to sit there and drink all day. And then the people that actually want to take the bus, they're afraid to be at the bus stop. So are these things that we can look into?
Thank you, Janet. I actually, the answer is yes. The short answer is yes. I just got the some pictures of those very bus benches with some of the behavior which is, inappropriate for that street scene there. Nicholas and I will take a look at it. We probably have to speak to MTA about it, but the short answer is yes, we're on it, and we will work through that issue and then come back to the group with, what's happening with the bus benches.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and also spoke to G-Chance because they also use that bus stop too. So yeah, hopefully their supervisor can give us a better understanding, and I could definitely relay that information to Nicolas and you as well.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Let's see, any more questions? I believe that's all of them. I did have El Garcia. She says, what does the 5 and 1-5 represent?
Thank you so much. I love that question. So it's the 15th district, and while we were getting ready for the inauguration, my wife and I were kind of talking about it and saying, it's really important that we know that we are one district made up of 5 communities. And so, if you count them out, it's Watts, the Harbor Gateway, Wilmington, Harbor City, and San Pedro. So 1-5 for us signifies one district, 5 beautiful communities. And we need to make sure that every day in every way in my office, in my administration, for as long as you guys will have me, that we're making sure that we're thinking of every part of the district, every one of the communities, and not leaving anybody out. So the 1-5 for me signifies a commitment to make sure that we're sticking up for every community in the district and having equity and fairness.
All right, that was actually pretty clever, if I say so. All right, we have Erica L. Stafford again. She says, does the LAPD make patrols along Gardena Boulevard on a regular basis? If not, they should be citing people for public nuisance. In this case, I believe it's a case of loitering as well. I also looked at photos.
This is one of the questions I get in different parts of the community about, requests to make sure that we're asking LAPD, whether it's out of Harbor Division or out of Southeast, to make sure that they're including in their basic patrol certain areas. And so on something like this, Erica, what I'll do is I'll take it back and Nicholas will remind me, and we'll make sure that we speak to LAPD and ask about the frequency of patrols on Gardena Boulevard and the incidence of those public nuisances and whether or not we're addressing them.
All right. Yeah, and I actually have one question too. There was a stakeholder who called in, and she was talking about how there was speeding along South Menlo Avenue in regards to the mechanic shop right there down at Rosecrans and South Menlo Avenue. And she's struggling to have, patrol vehicles in that area, and that particularly in South Menlo Avenue, where it's a residential street where most of the mechanics test drive their cars or the cars that they're working on, and they're just racing down there. And they put a bunch of regulatory signs, like stop head signs recently, but it isn't really solving the issue. But it's more like a Band-Aid. That's her words.
Yeah.
The main issue is that, she's been contacting a senior lead officer, Rob Martinez. No word as of yet, but also that she's been mentioning that this is a street where students at the 135th Street Elementary School usually take to go to school. So she wants Nicholas to actually be aware of that situation. But I can gladly email you so I could give you a better context.
Okay, that would be good. We'd be happy to follow up on that.
All right, no problem. Well, thank you. And there's actually one person too who wants a request of a stop sign, probably like a 2-way or 4-way on I don't know, it's near the Figueroa Street Elementary School. I believe it's on 110th Street. I forgot the other intersection, but I could, like I said, again, I could just email you, and hopefully, you can work up on a request on a traffic survey.
That would be good. You can make sure you always put Nicholas.
Sure, definitely.
he's going to be our guy. And you could hear it in his voice how excited he is to serve. the
Yeah,
community.
he is. And that's pretty cool too.
Yeah,
Okay.
to add to what the council member said, I will be meeting with Senior Lead Officer Martinez soon and all the other officers in the area. And I'll talk to them about some of the issues brought up.
Okay.
So I'll get to the bottom of some of those things.
Yeah, hopefully by tonight I can email you and some other things as well. And yeah, thank you. All right, I think we have a question from DC. Hello, DC. All right, I believe.
I'm sorry. My
No, no, no
question was,
problem.
is there ever going to be a substation, LEPD substation near 157th and Figueroa?
A substation. I don't know. I don't think so. Was there some talk of a substation there?
I think it was years ago.
Huh.
Because the 77th Division services us, and that's so far away. I was just wondering if it'd be something closer to the Gardena area.
Yeah, I know that LAPD has been talking about how they're going to add, if they're going to add any stations in the future, and I just by coincidence had this conversation with Chief Tingarides a couple of days ago, because she was interested in a new division or a new substation. What I'll do is, can you connect with Nicholas, and I just want to find out more what you might know as background, and I can raise it with LAPD, but I couldn't make a commitment that they're going to do that, but I do like the idea of having greater presence and opportunities for LAPD to be in our community.
And I just want to point out the name of our LAPD station is Southeast.
Right.
It's been many years since we were under 77.
Yeah. So yeah, our CD15 is served by Southeast and Harbor. Correct.
All right, let's see. Again, Janet Mitchell, do you have a question for Tim again? Or Nicholas?
No, my hand is not raised.
It was.
Oh.
I could gladly lower it. It's okay.
Okay.
No problem. All right, so Nita?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that we do have the homeless count going on tomorrow night, and they are still accepting volunteers, although you'd have to hop on and get some training done really quickly. But I hear a lot of concern about the homeless issues, and I was just wanting to make sure that everybody appreciates how important the homeless count is to addressing these issues, identifying where they are at least one evening, and how many people have been impacted by loss of their homes, and where it's going on in our district. And our police station at 108th and Main has roughly 300 officers, and that's all 3 shifts. So whatever we can do to help them identify and address these things, we need to do as a community, because they're very, very thinly stretched. And if you've ever visited that police station, it's very rudely treated by the neighborhood. Just, I mean, they break down their gates. They're not given the respect that they deserve for the job that they are called to do.
Nita,
Just
to add
my
to your
opinion.
point about the homeless count, it is very important. I encourage everyone, if they're available tomorrow, to sign up. I will be there tomorrow at the Harbor Gateway homeless count. I don't know the exact website. I don't remember the exact website, but I'll find it right now and make sure I could put it in the chat or somewhere here.
I will also just add my voice. The homeless count is very important because I know it's just a point in time count on one night, but it will direct resources, financial resources from the governmental agencies as to where the help will come. And it'd be important for us to be able to, identify our number and make sure that we get the resources that we need to address some of these issues.
All right. Lastly, we have Jesse Scott.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that as you talk to the police, can you remind them about the stop signs being people not stopping at the stop signs? And I'm not sure if there's anything that we can do about that, but it's I can look out my window and see them not stopping all day, and so
Right.
I just not
I
sure
will.
what we need to do.
I will. It's a chronic problem. I think we found post-pandemic that maybe the streets were empty and folks stopped following the rules, but we're finding, speeding and running through stop signs and the conditions for vehicle and pedestrian safety are much worse today than they were just a few years ago. And we need to work on strategies at the Department of DOT and how we design our streets and how we put up our signage and how we deploy our police officers. It's a real problem. I appreciate your reminder.
Okay, thank you.
The homeless count email is www.theycountwillyou.org. Theycountwillyou.org. And that'll give you ways to sign up and also download the app. There's an app that makes it rather easy to do your work.
All right, I think those are all the questions. Thank you very much, Councilman Member Tim McOsker and Nicolas Chavez, who is our new field deputy for the Harbor Gateway Division.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here with you. I'm going to jump off just to make sure I get some rest.
All right, definitely.
And I'm going to and Nicolas Chavez is going to stay on. And thank you and congratulations for such a full meeting and such an engaged constituency. I really appreciate all those excellent questions.
Thank you for actually coming.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, get well.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right, moving on to agenda item number 4, we have our special guest speaker, Amanda Bettinelli, who is the Assistant U.S. Attorney General and Environmental Justice Coordinator for the Central District, which will discusses her office work on air pollution, quality of water, soil contamination, illegal dumping, lead contamination, and industrial waste, and how to file complaints on violations. Good evening, Amanda.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. I am an assistant United States attorney at the Los Angeles office of the U.S. Attorney's Office. I'm a criminal prosecutor and have been for approximately 15 years, but I am also the environmental justice coordinator that is part of the Biden initiative to address both environmental justice and climate concerns. My position was created in early July by an initiative that spelled out ways to respond to environmental concerns that are disproportionately burdening communities of color, economically vulnerable communities, and areas that have particularly mixed zone uses, of which your district is certainly a part, where you have the juxtaposition of some industry, some transportation corridor activity that would implicate public health concerns due to air quality concern issues, contamination, if there's been building or residential areas near historical contamination sites. The council member who just stepped away was on a toxic tour that was arranged for us in early July to visit some of the contaminated sites in and around the Alameda corridor and in Watts in particular. And we all went around to try to identify and understand how you would have these legacy sites that had not been addressed historically. At that time, he was not in the current appointed leadership role that he was, but he was, trying to take in the information. I was impressed at his concern with regard to those issues. And one of the things that I try to do is when I take in complaints and referrals, and I have dropped them in the chat for you, and I'm hoping that you can transfer that to the live action chat. I put it in the host chat. There's ways to reach me with community referrals and issues, such as there was a debris pile in your neighborhood that your secretary had alerted me to, provided photos, and did an excellent job, Ms. Preston, of alerting me to concerns and historical evidence to show that there had been some construction dumping. I am launching an initiative that may be of interest to your community, since illegal dumping is so rampant here and actually across the city. And I think part of it is the reactive nature that all of you have described of the 311 system. And unfortunately, it sort of shifts the burden to the residents to identify, initiate cleanups, and then try to get the attention of, I think this is one area that is very under-resourced in trying to respond to some of the community concerns. And as you all know, the quality of life issue, when there's a tremendous amount of dumping in your area, especially, it can bring rodents, it presents some public health concerns depending on the nature of the debris. And I have been responsible for a cleanup of the Compton Creek specifically, which was heavily polluted with trash. The Lansett property in the Watts community that had been overrun with many of the same issues that you've identified here, an unsheltered population that some of whom were new to being unhoused and had engaged in some criminal activity that was problematic for some of the local businesses and some of the residences. And so residents of the area, including a residence that was burned down through a unsheltered person's fire. And so I worked with LAPD. Their lead officer is Armando Leyva. I worked with the city attorney's neighborhood prosecutor, who can bring those nuisance actions and those loitering concerns that you mentioned earlier on this call. And I basically coordinated a cleanup over the course of several weeks with notice and support and services for sheltered persons to try to make sure that the community was returned to a cleaner state, a healthier state for residents, that the watershed, which was the Compton Creek, which is a tributary to the LA River, was cleaned out, and that I also partnered with some of the businesses and residents to ensure that their quality of life is not further implicated due to some of the public safety concerns because of there had been some crime in the area, some shop area, development of basically bicycle theft and things of that nature, which ultimately made residents feel unsafe. So many of the comments here today have kind of directly been implicated in some of my work in other areas and communities in your neighborhood. And one of the things that I spoke about last night with some of the neighborhood council folks in District 8, and we had a couple of folks on that were also from District 44, is that there are a number of issues that are common throughout. So part of the initiative around illegal dumping, I'm working to partner with the city attorney's office. An individual prosecutor named Khalil Rashid is their point of contact for illegal dumping. He and I are working to identify egregious sites of ongoing dumping. I heard your secretary mention that there has been, certain areas that are historical sites that have ongoing issues with regard to dumping. You can refer those sites to me and I can present them in partnership as part of that initiative with the city attorney's office to try to get a more coordinated and more quick attention and response by both LA Sanitation. I've worked with the Department of Public Works and some of the local leads for the council members. So I'm excited to meet and work with Nicholas, that's on the call as well, and really try to attend to some of those urgent concerns which really make you feel unsafe and I know create a sense of dis-ease in the community when you're working so hard to keep your community safe and beautiful for you to raise your family, and you want to know that you have healthy air, that you're not being exposed to anything toxic in the soil, if there's debris piles that have construction waste, sometimes there's concerns about the nature of those piles, that they might contain asbestos or a friable material, which must be treated in a certain manner to make sure that it's not airborne. And I know that there are other issues with regard to flare events and port activity, both truck traffic and idling offshore vessels, which are point sources that can implicate quality of life and air quality concerns. So those are the things that I really address on a daily basis in my role. I can bring criminal cases at the federal level. Those tend to be felony prosecutions, a little bit different toolkit than the city attorney's office. Those are misdemeanors. And I am interested in the initiative that I heard that was mentioned, which is the pole camera usage. Those are recommended through the Department of Toxic Substances through LA, and they have investigators who have found that to be an effective model. That is something you might want to explore further. I had heard mention of maybe being a test site or a pilot program. And one of the things that you want to think about, not only about where to site the cameras, but also that you would be able to refer those matters for prosecution. And that would be where Khalil Rashid and myself would come in. You know, there's different postures of evaluating conduct, if it's ongoing in nature and if it's a business that's routinely just dumping in your community, you know, basically circumventing hazardous materials rules, dumping and construction waste rules. Those are things that you would certainly want to use a prosecution model to support your work. And the other thing with regard to that is when you have a pole camera, you do need the partnership of law enforcement or prosecutorial office to review the footage. So it's not merely capture of the LDR or license plate readers, but also trying to, you know, subsequently follow up and make those identifications so that you're aware of who's in your community and if it's a business actor, to be able to move swiftly to address that. So that's something I would encourage, and I'm happy to partner with you on.
Email enak kan? Mendingan nanya.
Sorry, I think you dropped your call, Amanda.
How's that?
Oh yeah, sorry. I can hear you now.
Okay. So I heard another person talking and then I got muted. I apologize. So all I was saying is you should pursue, if you can, that pole camera initiative. I think that's a good supportive resource for the community if that's something you can do, and I'm happy to partner with you and Khalil Rashid, who would be the city attorney, to bring those initiatives. But also, if there are other sources of concern with regard to community concerns about safe drinking water, I've done a number of initiatives in and around that with the California Department of Public Health. And I circulated some of those materials in advance of this call. But that's kind of the overview with regard to some of my work. I hope that's helpful. I'm happy to take any questions. I provided my contact information. Thank you, Mr. Vasquez, for dropping it in the chat. But I just wanted to give a kind of preview of some of the ways to touch and concern some of the issues raised today. I wonder, just candidly, that the reactive model of the LA 311, I think one thing I would suggest to your new council person is, since he's on the hiring committee, it might make sense, since so many of you are taking the initiative to clean up your own community, that there might be some intentionality around hiring for LA Sanitation to see if there would be a broader reach in terms of hitting some of the communities, because I often wonder if it's a staffing problem to be able to hit all of the communities. And I'm just not sure that a reactive model, given the breadth and depth of the unsheltered population and some of the dumping that has become rampant throughout Los Angeles County and the city, and in particular, I just wonder if there is a better solution out there. And I'll just put a question mark in that. I don't have an answer, but it's something that I have noticed all residents are shouldering that burden to try to keep their communities clean. And I just wonder if we can't reimagine a better way to address what I think is an environmental justice concern. And it's not the model that's used in other communities. And it's just interesting to see how much work is going into trying to address and ameliorate an ongoing issue. So I hope that's helpful.
Oh, it is. All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for your presentation. We'll move on to questions. All right. So,
You're
Nina,
welcome.
you have a question for Amanda Bettinelli?
Were you asking me?
Yes, you had your hand raised.
Hello?
Nita? All right, well, we'll just move on. Janet Mitchell?
Yes, as she spoke, as you spoke on the things about air quality and everything over here in District 7, mainly in the area of our 105 freeway in San Pedro, every week we're having stolen vehicles that they're setting afire. And this is one of those routes that is a route for Gompers Middle School as well as 118th Street Elementary. And our children are walking through this on a regular basis. And I think that that is something that should be priority. Over the years, I've been trying to get just the lights under that underpass way replaced and get it lit. If you come out here after dark, it's black under there. So you got so much criminal activity and these things are taking place. And yes, it does create air quality issue in my concern for the children that and everybody that's having to travel through that. So what can we do? Can we get the lights, get the cameras?
Yes, so you can get the lights. I have worked with the LAPD lead officer and oh, hold on. I keep getting muted somehow. So I was going to say you are able to work with the Department of Public Works and the LAPD lead officer to be able to address those issues.
I've done that, and
Okay.
as I
No
say,
response?
I've made all of the requests. I have
Okay.
request records. Nothing has been done. And
Okay.
it's just like it seemed like it's falling on deaf ears, and no one is taking action to try and address this matter.
Okay, so I have done that and gotten the street lights replaced off of the Lancet property that had been out for a stretch of the road. So you can email that contact information. You can email me directly or the environmental at US Department of Justice.gov email and provide the information about the location. And I can respond to that and assist you in getting support for getting that addressed, because it's not only a public safety concern, but something we can address.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So it's in the chat, and I've figured that out. So you can email me. And usually what I ask is the specific coordinates of the address, and then if you have a photograph of the upper lights, because they count them, and then we make a request, and I'm happy to do that.
No problem.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Nita?
Thank you, Miguel. I'm sorry I was unable to unmute my button the last time. And I'm so excited to hear from Amanda. And I was wondering, has concerns the proposed warehouse fulfillment center at Redondo and Vermont? I fail to understand how it could have gotten as far as it was, and no consideration to the fact that the air quality here is already bad. We don't need to be a second Alameda corridor. That, to me, tons and tons of trucks coming and going at all hours is not something this neighborhood can support. And it's gotten so far, and people say it's unstoppable. Oh, they've got everything they need, and it can't be unstoppable. I don't receive that as a reality.
So I'm curious, and I'm not as familiar with the area. Is it directly going down residential streets, or is it more going through a multi use area. That's
They
somewhat
call it
important to the calculus.
multi-use. They do
Okay.
call it multi-use, but it's, I mean, there are apartments on the other side of Redondo Beach Boulevard from where they are. A gas station followed
Okay.
by homes and apartments. Behind
Okay.
the railroad tracks, homes and apartments. I mean,
Right.
and the
Okay.
traffic alone already, I mean, they closed the freeway off ramp at Alondra. They closed the 157th Street at Vermont in favor of rail traffic. How much more can they
Mhm.
do to this neighborhood in favor of big business? And, oh, who cares about the people who live there?
Right. Well, so one of the issues so I'm happy to look into it. I'm happy to follow up on it. One of the things that we'd have to look at is the approvals and permitting process that sort of facilitated the project. So that's one analysis. The
It
other
appeared to have
is when
gone
we look
past EPA. And there were
it went
letters.
past EPA.
Yeah,
Okay.
there were
Okay.
all kinds of letters going back and forth to the state. And I believe that's ongoing inquiry as to how exactly they got so far without an environmental report,
Impact.
which
Right.
I
report.
understand was supposed to finally happen this month, but I've not seen
Okay.
anything.
Okay, so what I would suggest, if you don't mind doing, if you could give me just your contact information and email me, I don't have your full name on your screen, and send me, I'd like to follow up and set up a call to advise you of the information regarding this fulfillment center, questions regarding the permitting process, whether or not the environmental impact study went forward, and did it touch and concern issues of air quality for the neighboring residents, be they the apartment dwellers or individuals who are in their smaller homes alongside the path or adjacent to the traffic. I do think that those concerns that you are noting, which would be the different methods of transportation, are going to impact air quality in general, as you noted. And so that should be part of the factor in terms of the path of travel for all the vehicles. But I would like to review a little bit more historical information before I speak out of turn about my thoughts about it. I would like to be able to review that information, and I'll look forward to hopefully getting an email from you, and we can talk a bit further, and I can review some of those documents. It sounds like it was Cal EPA, but not federal EPA. Do you happen to know which one it was?
I don't even believe Cal EPA was properly involved.
Okay.
No.
It was
Okay.
the city of Los Angeles.
City of Los Angeles. Thank you. Okay, so what we can do is when you send that information along, I'm happy to review it, and that will be an ongoing discussion because I can reach out to my counterpart at either the State Attorney General's office to see if there were any irregularities in the permitting process. There's a person there who I've worked with in the past. He's also joined in the Atlas Metals case in Watts, and so I'm happy to loop them in and get some good conversation going with regard to an analysis about the process and protocols that were followed to move that project along. I don't know if there are any irregularities at this stage, but it's certainly worth a look since you're describing what seems to be a resident dense area.
I would like to see it stay
Okay.
a neighborhood. And
Understood. Yeah,
I would
I
hope
agree.
that my neighbors feel the same way.
Right. No,
Thank
that
you so
all
much,
makes sense to
Amanda.
me.
It's very exciting to talk to you, that you're like a breath of fresh air. I got involved in the neighborhood council meetings, and I'm actually running this time for the first time because it just blindsided me that this could happen. And
Right.
And I asked, and Miguel will tell you, I asked at the beginning of the meeting if he'd heard anything about it. Have you heard anything about it? And the answer has been no, and no, we haven't heard anything. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and I apologize for interrupting. One recommendation that I would have just in general is I have invited other neighborhood councils to create an environmental justice council specifically to address. There are many issues, obviously, that you all are focused on within your community, but if you want to create a very targeted conversation around these issues, I then am happy to meet with folks to really go through. What we usually do is identify the top 4, top 3 most egregious sites within the community, and then try to really get a game plan together to engage with stakeholders who are in the environmental space. AQMD is the air quality partner, that you want to be talking with. EPA, another partner, DTSC also. And sometimes there is some good information in and around CalGEM, which is one of the California conservation, in and around some of the refinery and flare sites. So there are good ways to move forward, but it's a very long game. You have to have, some intentionality around it. You have to have the right conversational partners. And so I just welcome and happy to sort of create a mini task force in and around the environmental justice concerns, because each community is going to have different issues. And if you're trying to avoid becoming, transportation corridor, those are proactive conversations you want to have by already mapping some of the environmental burdens that the community is already addressing. And in essence, that's one of the reasons why we sort of identify as an environmental justice, is that we don't want to overburden specific communities to make them sort of bear the brunt of our, ease and facility of getting around town or moving cargo or any of those things. And so really trying to see if there are alternatives for some of that truck traffic, if that can be done through zoning, if there are different ways to address passive travel, prevent idling by schools, prevent some of the other issues of, health impacts that come along with those particulate matter and other things that we worry about. So those are good conversations. So I invite Michael, anybody who's interested in kind of identifying those things specifically, Miguel, identifying those issues specifically, you can, and just, phrase it to me as we're the Environmental Justice Council from, the harbor area. We really want to address issues of concern within our community. Harbor Gateway North specifically, we're focused on, these are our top 3 issues, these are our top 4, and I'm happy to partner with you and kind of bring to bear the force of federal government to try to get some action, to try to look at different resources and help move things along more quickly. Because one of the things that we want to make sure is that all of our neighbors are equally protected in their ability to advocate for themselves. So I'm happy to do that, and I'll leave it to you all to decide if that's an area of interest. Don't want to overcomplicate, but that's another forum that some folks have created specifically to address those types of concerns. So I welcome the opportunity if you are interested.
I am most interested. Thank you, Amanda. This new team to work with is very exciting. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, there definitely. I would like to join in that group as well, Amanda. So hopefully by the
Great.
end of
Yeah. So you can
we can
take the lead.
Sure, that sounds good. Yeah, after this email,
Yeah.
after this meeting, I guess I can just contact you through email and we can start on this group.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sounds good.
Yes, absolutely. I welcome it. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, so we have Jesse Scott. Hello, Jesse.
Hello. Thank you, Amanda. Really good information. Ms. Mitchell, can you also add Main Street between 16 and 118 for the lights?
Yes, that's also an area that I have photos of burned vehicles and the light outage.
Okay, thank you
No
so
problem.
much. Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, Jana Mitchell.
That's it. I guess you don't lower my hand once I've said what I
All
just
right.
said.
I've been muted, so trust me, there's technology happening. It's a little challenging.
Sorry about that. It's
No
just-
worries.
All right, so then Erica.
Hi, Amanda. You are a light of hope coming to us. I
thank
just
you.
want to add to what Nita just said about the open space on Redondo Beach and Vermont. They sent a report to the state, which is wrong, indicate that the furthest house from the location is like another block away. But in reality, my house is only like 100, maybe 100 feet away from the location that they gonna build the parking lot. Where
Oh,
the
okay.
truck gonna be parked
Mhm.
24/7. The truck idling and then backing up with beep 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 sound in the middle of the night. It's
Right.
not, I would not be able to live. I've been living
Mhm.
in this house for over 40 years. And
Right.
it's not just for them to do such a thing to, cause me to move out.
Mhm.
So it's very much appreciate if you can, help us do something about this,
Sure.
because it's totally unjust to put a warehouse in the middle of Redondo Beach where all the shop and, for people to enjoy, not a warehouse with 70 something truck or 200 something
Mhm.
car going 24/7. We already
Right.
congested as is
Mhm.
without
Can
anything
I
built
ask?
there.
Right. Now, when you talked about the report that they did, it didn't include your street or your home. So you've
When they
seen the
send an
report and you can.
application to the city to get the permit,
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
they call environmental or something report.
Draft
Environmental
EIR, draft EIR.
drafty. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
And it's
Okay.
incorrect
So
as far as the nearest house to the location.
okay.
Mine is actually
Okay.
the very close. It's just like across from the railroad track, directly from it.
Directly from it. So my suggestion, if I can, is to ask you also to email, and you can email me at the amanda.bettinelli, the email that's in the chat. You can copy the other email if you can see all of it on the screen. I know that's a little bit long, but and provide the information about your physical address in that email and indicate that the permit or the draft IR report that went along with the permit submission was inaccurate, and that you have been a permanent resident for 40 years, and just some little paragraph summarizing what you've told me, and I will partner with the Attorney General's office to look into the status of what they've presented in connection with their permit and try to move that conversation along. Thank you for letting me know that. That's a good and helpful fact.
Yes, will do. I remember
thank
there's
you so
some
much.
construction going on somewhere else and they have a snail that hold off the construction. I'm a live human. I
Right.
spend more value than snail. I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm just,
agreed.
thank you,
Yes. Of course.
Thank you very much,
Okay,
Erica.
we'll be in conversation. Thank you. I appreciate it. Just email me. Sorry for interrupting, Miguel, but yeah, I'll look for the email. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's see. Lou Watson. Lou?
Yes, Amanda, just for your information, the Attorney General did weigh in on this proposed project that is proposing to locate at Redondo Beach Boulevard and Vermont. Because of the pollution areas around that. There are many sensitive receptors there, and also city park within 8 feet of this proposed project. So if you would like me, I will send you either a copy of the letter that the Attorney General sent that basically called a halt to what's going on. But I think that you need to read some of the background on this, on the what do we want to say? On the officials or like AQMD and other organizations, or not organizations, that had problems with this project. And I think you need to be fully aware of all of this. It's just not on the committee. is pollution
Right.
and other issues. There is a lot of background that you that the DOJ needs to be familiar with. And I think it would cause you to think other than permitting on this. And I will
On
send
this particular issue.
on this particular location, which is Redondo Beach Boulevard and Vermont. And I
Okay.
will send you the information from the Attorney General so that you'll be aware of it. Some of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. No, that's very helpful, and it's good to know that there was some concern. They wanted to halt it in the prior objections. That actually is all good information, which shows that there is some, independent support to show that there are some concerns with regard to both the environmental impact and also just to overall, what we would call is disproportionate burden perhaps on residents and neighbors, and then the impacts on health generally with regard to, because some of the proximities that you're describing, 100 feet, 8 feet, that's a lot of, you would worry about that, in terms of proximity to neighborhoods and schools and families. And I would be interested in learning that background. So thank you for alerting me to it. I appreciate that very much.
Lastly, we have Erica.
Okay.
Hello,
I
Erica.
already spoke. I
Oh, you
forgot
already
to lower my hand.
Oh, okay, sorry. Well, all right. Well, thank you very much, Amanda. It was actually pretty instructive. And oh, and do you have, by the way, the email for Mr. Rashid? Oh no, sorry.
Khalil Rashid, let me look, because I told him that I would be the point of contact and present to him the egregious sites, but he's not a neighborhood prosecutor, but he is a prosecutor at the city attorney's office. So what you can do is you can email the both of us. He may want a little bit of lead time, but I've dropped that in for you to note, and you can pass on to everyone else. But he's at the city attorney's office. He's a prosecutor, and he has prosecuted local business dumping and construction. And I've done construction debris, as has the city, the LA County office has done it as well. So there's a lot of different avenues to pursue, but he and I are working together to identify and launch a very specific targeted initiative around illegal dumping, and wanted to work together to be able to identify very specific egregious locations that have been kind of sites for repeat offense, and try to work together to make sure that we prevent and deter such activities from continuing, and prosecuting where appropriate the offenders. So that's important. And he is, I don't know if you can see that, Miguel. I dropped his info in the chat, and you can note that there.
All right, yeah.
You have folks send it information regarding locations directly to me, and you can copy him, or you can gather them together after you've conferred about who you want to be on your Environmental Justice Council, and kind of create a list of priority sites. And I'm happy to sit down at a later date, and we can discuss those as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, thank you very much, Amanda. It was very informative. And yeah, I
My
would
pleasure.
like to partner with you in the future. Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely. No, it's my pleasure. Yeah, and I think these are really important issues, and you have very good, motivated residents, right, in your neighborhood. And the important thing is to be able to identify issues, recognize them as concerns within the environmental justice space that would implicate worries about quality of life concerns, and then just the overall public safety in and around exposures. And so there's hazardous materials exposures, there's particulate matter, we look at groundwater contamination, we look at soil contamination, and it's just really important to be aware that there is an environmental regulation framework that's there to serve you. I have more tools as the DOJ coordinator at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and part of that is to really bring to bear resources to help you get quicker results. Doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to be a criminal case, but really trying to get folks moving who are charged with the responsibility, jurisdictional oversight, and understand, help them understand the need to respond, and not to constantly delay if it's going to implicate, rodent infestation, leaving, trash for, that's going to pollute your community. Those are all really important to address, and we want to make sure that we do that quickly. So happy to help there, and I look forward to working with everyone. Thank you for taking the time. I'm grateful. I wish I could see everyone's faces, but I understand that our videos are all muted out, but I've circulated some of my information, and you can feel free to pass on whatever you think is appropriate, Miguel, with regard to the press release, with regard to prior action in the Watts community, and some of the video that we did on the toxic tour. And if you guys want to set up a toxic tour, we can do that, and we can identify sites of concern.
All right, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for coming in this evening.
Glad to do it.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 6, administrative motions. All right, approval of $529.51 to Minimum Press for the January 24, 2023 general membership meeting flyer. Do we have a motion to approve of the $529.51 Minimum Press?
Rosalie Preston makes the motion.
I support. I second. Sorry.
All right.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you, Joan. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I had a
I'm not sure if I was heard. Thank you.
Rosalie?
Roll call vote, Miguel Vasquez,
Yes.
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Keith Pitts,
Yes.
Julia Escada Arteaga,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Jodette Span.
Yes.
Did Jackie Jackson ever come on? I don't-
Leave no.
Okay. Richard Lee. Is Richard still on?
He's still here. Let's see. Maybe you can just skip him for now.
Okay. Angela Springs. I saw her earlier on her phone. Craig Kusunoki.
Yes.
Oh, Angela's here again, so
Okay, Angela, we're voting on the Minuteman Press expenditure.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Motion passes.
okay. All right, moving on to the approval of $1,575 sorry, to Walking Man for January 24, 2023 general membership meeting flyer delivery. Do we have a motion to approve $1,575 to Walking Man?
I'll make the motion.
All right, thank you very much, William.
Keith.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Keith. Oh, I pressed it. All right.
I'll second.
All right, thank you very much, John.
Okay, roll call. Miguel Vasquez,
Yes.
Joan Jacobs,
Yes.
Rosalie Preston, yes. Keith Pitts,
Yes.
Julia Escada Arteaga,
Yes.
Harvey Powell,
Yes.
Jodette Span,
Yes.
Richard Lee, Angela Springs,
Yes.
Craig Kusunoki.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you very much, Rosalie. All right, moving on to agenda item number 6. I believe it says brief announcements from board members. I would like to remind everyone that the Greater Los Angeles Homeless Count is this Wednesday, January 25th at 8 p.m. and Thursday, January 26th at 8 p.m. Does anyone have any announcements that they wish to make? All right, I believe we don't have any more.
Yeah.
Joan? I mean,
I just
You recognizing me?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. it's
I just
also-
want to remind everyone about February the 25th at 11 o'clock that the Black History Community Celebration will be held at the Rosecrans Park Recreational Center. So we're inviting everyone out. We also, when we get approved to get the flyers and stuff, the asking each representative in the district to take flyers and to pass them out.
Sounds good. And do you have a very a detailed itinerary of what you guys are planning to do on that event? I believe that you said you had
We're
poetry.
gonna have like a celebration with the program, singing, dancing, poetry reading. Possibly, we're gonna have a lot of entertainment, some entertainment that's gonna be there. And we also gonna be serving refreshment food. So you don't wanna miss it. So you wanna come out. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a success. So we
yeah,
just ask
definitely. So
each and
it's
every, all the board members to be there and to let's celebrate that Black History community celebration for Black History Month.
all right. So it's like you said, it's general February the 25th, I believe, right? You said?
Yeah, at 11. So
11, okay. And do you need people? Do you need help on to set up, or is the park going to take care of that?
The park actually is going to set out the chairs and stuff for the program and different things like that, because we're going to use their chairs and stuff. He said that they would do that.
Great, awesome. Okay, so February 25th at 11 p.m. All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you, everyone. Does anyone have any more announcements? All right. All right, sounds good. All right, thank you, everyone, for attending tonight's meeting. This concludes the meeting at 8:31 p.m. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, and have a nice evening. And hope to see you again in our next board meeting, which is, I believe,
February 14th.
Valentine's Day. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Our last meeting by Zoom.
Oh, yeah. That's
Okay.
so. Yeah, our next meetings will be 135th Elementary Street, 135th Street Elementary School, correct?
Yes, as long as we get the permit.
Hopefully. Well, okay. Well, thank you, everyone.
Okay, good night.
Night.
Good night.
Night.
Richard.
Miguel, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
As far as this environmental impact group is concerned,